בעזרת השם נעשה ונצליח, והשם עלינו ברחמיו ירוויח. The subject of the shiur, the four Parshiot, the four Parshiot. Chazal constitute for us in the Mishnah, and the source for it come from the Mishnah in Masechet Megillah, in chapter 3, verse 4. That means Perek Gimel, Mishnah Dalet. Chazal tell us that they constitute for us that we should read four Parshiot, four different Parshiot from the Shabbos that before Rosh Chodesh Adar until Rosh Chodesh Nisan. And the Parshiot is Parashat Shkalim, Zachor, Para, and Parashat HaChodesh. Those are the four Parshiot that we obligated to read on those time that between the Rosh Chodesh, the Shabbat before Rosh Chodesh Adar until Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Okay, now I would like to go also to the order of the reading. That's very important. So we know that we have 4 Shabbatot that we have to read the Torah. How does it work? And that's the most important, because there's different things that can happen and we have to understand, so we'll know if it's happened, how to help if the Gaboim doesn't know what to do. So it's go like this. It's go that the Shabbos before Rosh Chodesh Adar until Rosh Chodesh Nisan, like we explained, on those, every Shabbos, we take 2 Sifrei Torah. And the first Sefer Torah, we read the Parshat HaShavua of the week. And the second Torah, the second Sefer Torah, we read the Maftir. And after that, we read the Haftarah. Okay, but what's happened if Rosh Chodesh fall on Shabbat? You understand? Now we have a problem. In that case, by the way, that can happen only on 2 occasions. It can happen on Rosh Chodesh Adar or Rosh Chodesh Nisan. That means that Rosh Chodesh Adar can fall on a Shabbos, or Rosh Chodesh Nisan can fall also on Shabbat. In that case, we take actually 3 Sifrei Torah, not 2. Because the first Sefer Torah, what do we read? Parshat Shavua. After that, the second Sefer Torah, we read Rosh Chodesh. The third one we read, the Parsha of those 4 Parshiot, one of the Parshiot that we have. And usually it's fall. You know when it's usually fall? It can fall only on Parashat Shkalim or on Parashat HaChodesh. That's when usually it can happen. What's happened if we have a leap year? If we have a leap year, what are we going to do? Because on a leap year, we have 2 Adarim. So when should we start reading? So we start in the Shabbos before Rosh Chodesh Adar Bet. On a leap year that we have 2 Adarim, we start reading those Parshiot, that means Parashat Shkalim, we read it on a Shabbat before Rosh Chodesh Adar Bet. You follow? Any question? No. Okay, on those Shabbatot, we have a special custom that we don't say Avarahamim. We do not say Avarahamim on those Shabbatot. Not only that, we don't do any Haskara Neshamot. That means we don't do any Haskara on those Shabbos. We're not allowed to do. But in Mincha, and that's different here, that we do Tzidkatcha. We do say Tzidkatcha. You look a bit worried, Pinchas. On Shabbos, we do say Tzidkatcha. Check it up, and you'll see. Except, wait, we didn't finish. If it's fall on Rosh Chodesh, we don't say Tzidkatcha. Oh, that's what you wanted to ask, nachon? So in the case that it's a normal Shabbos, not Rosh Chodesh fall on Shabbat, in Mincha, we say Tzidkatcha. But if it's Rosh Chodesh, obviously, we don't say Tahanut, we don't say Askarat Neshamot, the same like we do every Rosh Chodesh. And we don't say Tzidkatcha. Nachon? Any question? No, we continue. Now we're going to go to the order of the Parshiot, and we're going to explain the time, and we're going to go explain why Dafka those Parshiot Hazal chose for us, and what is the Haftarah. So we spoke about that we said that the first Parsha that we have to read on a Shabbos before Rosh Chodesh Adar, that will be Parashat Shkalim. What is shkalim and why dafka shkalim? The main reason for it, first of all, Parashat Shkalim can be found in Chumash Shmot and Parashat Ki Tisa, in chapter 30, verse 11 to 16. That's what we read Parashat Shkalim. Why dafka Parashat Shkalim? By the way, the time that we read it, again, I repeat, it's the Shabbos before Rosh Chodesh Adar. Why dafka Shkalim? What does Parashat Shkalim speak about? Mahatzit shekel. Oh, what is Mahatzit shekel? Why did they used to collect Mahatzit shekel? מה? לא שמעתי, אלי, מחייה. נגד עין הרע. לא. Oh, Pinchas, help us here. Mahatzit shekel came in time that Bet HaMikdash was exist. They used to collect a month before Mahatzit shekel. Why? Yeah, but why? What is it? That they can bring korbanot tzibur. On Pesach, Rabotai, they used to sacrifice korbanot tzibur. What it means? The public offering. So they used to collect enough money that on Pesach, during the time of Pesach, in Bet HaMikdash, they used to bring korban tzibur. Every day they used to bring the korban tzibur. That means that they used to collect enough money, and people used to bring it, and they used to put it together, and with that they used to buy enough korbanot, enough sacrifice, and that's called a public sacrifice. So Mahatzit shekel was for what? For korbanot tzibur. Today that we don't have Bet HaMikdash, we still obligated to bring Mahatzit shekel to remind us on what's happened in Bet HaMikdash. Okay. I'm going to stop here before I continue. Yes, Eli, you want to ask?
At that time, when the
Bet HaMikdash was exist.
No, in the Torah, the Hashem said to us collect Mahatzit shekel.
נכון.
Is to count the people, no?
נכון.
Okay, and because of they want to count and not going to be Ain Hara, so to the money.
Okay. So you talking...
The Rashi said, no.
נכון.
So why you say no?
אז רגע, אז אני אסביר לך. מחצית השקל. הסיבה שאנחנו קוראים את פרשת שקלים, להזכיר לנו את מחצית השקל. מחצית השקל היה לקנות קורבנות. אתה מדבר ששמה שרשום שאסור לספור את ישראל. What does it mean? You remember when we spoke about פרשת כי תישא, כי תישא את ראש בני ישראל. What does it mean את כי תישא את ראש? You're not allowed to count. Why? You're talking about that if you count the Jewish people with numbers like 1, 2, 3, we explain that Hazal Paskin for us, that can do Ain Hara, and Chas v'Shalom, it can bring to a plague that people Chas v'Shalom happen. So we explain, so how do we count today? We say a pasuk. Any pasuk you can say. You say Oshia et Amecha, you can say Ashrei Shvei Betecha, what's the difference? As long that you count. With Ashrei Shvei Betecha. You don't count 1, 2, 3. We're not allowed to count. But the Mahatzit shekel came specially for the korbanot tzibur. You follow? Ken, sorry, you... The korbanot tzibur that we talk in here, it's happened once a year in Pesach. That's the public sacrificing that they used to bring. You follow? Who asked was? Eli?
But going to where the korbanot tzibur?
מקריבים על המזבח.
Then
לא, זה קורבן ציבור של כולם שמקריבים, מה? אתה מקריב, נכון? יש קורבנות.
To say thanks to Hashem, to say forgiveness, Hashem started what?
מה זה הקורבנות ציבור? קורבן ציבור בדרך כלל בא, כן? על מה? למה בא קורבן? בדרך כלל. קורבן ציבור בא בדרך כלל לכפר על חטאים. נכון? זה העיקר. Okay, let's continue. So we see from here that Parashat Shkalim we read before Rosh Chodesh Adar. Why? Is to wake up the people, to give them a chance to start giving the Mahatzit shekel to Bet HaMikdash that they can buy enough sacrifices that will be sacrificed on Pesach himself. Pinchas? You wanted to say anything? סליחה. Say...
Also for the whole year.
נכון.
לאו דווקא פסח.
אבל בעיקר לפסח. להקרבה היא בעיקר בפסח. עיקר ההקרבה של קורבנות ציבור זה בפסח. ככה, by the way, if you want to check it up, look at the משנה ברורה, סימן תרפ"ה א'. Also, if you look at מקרא קודש, that's, there they explain why do we do that. That's the main reason. That's where I got the source. The Haftarah that we read on that Shabbos brought in Sefer Melachim, the book of the king too, because the book of king have two books, Melachim Aleph and Melachim Bet. In Melachim Bet, that means Kings 2, chapter 11, that's the Haftarah of Parashat Shkalim. Huh? There it's speaking about again. All the Haftarot, by the way, that we read, it's have a connection to the Parsha. Because the Haftarah speak from the prophets, or from the, let's call it the Nach. Because the Tanakh, the Taf, is the Torah, the 5 books of Moses. That's Torah Shebichtav. After that, we usually, the minhag is, not usually, it is the minhag, that we read from the Nach, the Haftarot. But the Haftarah have to have a connection to the Parsha. You follow? And there it speaks about, in Melachim, about bringing the donation to buy the Korbanot Tzibur, especially and mainly for Pesach. You follow? The next Shabbat, what is come the next Shabbat? Usually here there is the Shabbat Hafsaka. I will speak about it later on. That means the break, the Shabbat break. But after that comes Shabbat Zachor. Shabbat Zachor, this is a bit of difficult Shabbat. Why? Because the number one that we have to do, we have to read in Sefer Torah, in Humash Dvarim, okay? In Parashat Ki Tetzeh, and there in Parashat Ki Tetzeh in chapter 25, in verse 17 to 19 include, because that the last pasuk is 19, okay? So you read 17, 18, 19, that it's 3 psukim. There he speak about what it says, Zachor et asher asa lecha Amalek b'tzetcha me'eret Mitzrayim. That we obligated, number one, to remember what Amalek done to us after we left Egypt. That means after the exodus of Bnei Israel from Egypt. Not only that we obligated to remember, we have another obligation. What is it? Timhe et zecher Amalek. What it means, Timhe? That we obligated to destroy, to wipe Amalek from this world. Yes, Eliyahu.
Hashem recommend us not to kill, yes?
נכון.
But I think only for Amalek you allowed to say, I want to make a mitzvah Hashem to kill Amalek.
Okay, so Eliyahu say, one of the 10 commands that we have, לא תרצח. And we have 3 mitzvot בתורה, 3 mitzvot of the Torah, ייהרג ואל יעבור. And one of them is רצח. שפיכות דמים, נכון? רצח. So Eliyahu asked, how come with Amalek? נכון? למה עמלק דווקא יש לנו מצווה? That's what you're asking if I understand. נכון אליהו? המצווה היא להרוג את עמלק, למחות את זכר עמלק, because עמלק, after everything that happened in Egypt, Amalek cooled down the nation. What does it mean cool down the nation? Everyone was afraid. Everyone knew that there is Almighty. Came Amalek, and Amalek like put doubt in people's heart if there is Chas v'Shalom HaKadosh Baruch Hu or not. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu command us to kill the Amalek, to destroy him. But today, halacha today, because we don't know who's Amalek, who's the nation of Amalek, we can't kill. We have no certainty. Because sin comes Sanheriv, since Sanheriv came and he mixed everything, we don't know. Now, Eliyahu said that Iran today is Amalek. Most probably. The Gaon Mivilna say, they ask him, who was Amalek? He said Germania. He didn't say Germania. Listen to what I'm saying. Germania. And we saw that the German, lo aleinu, when the devil came out of the closet. We saw what happened. But I tell you what the Zohar HaKadosh say, who's Amalek? The Zohar say, Eliyahu, Kol milhama. No. Kol milhama. Every war. That nation start against Israel, that's Amalek. So today we have Hamas, we have the Hezbollah, we have the Jihad, we have Daesh, we have Iran. You name them. What do you think? Our friend in the north, Assad, is not? And you think Putin is not? Putin loves us? I don't know if you read the latest news just to wake you up. You remember last year, Spain announced that all of those that was in a Spanish Inquisition welcome to come and get a passport. Today in the news, I don't know if you read it, they're declaring that the Jewish Israeli people that represent Israel, they're not welcome. They should leave Spain. Just 1 year ago, they asked us to come back. So told me, this is not Amalek. Anyway, so we see from here that we're obligated to read Parashat Amalek, and not only to remember, we also have to remember that we have to destroy. The Haftarah for it comes from Shmuel Aleph, the prophet Shmuel 1, in chapter 15, and there it also speak about what's happened during that time, that we have to remember, because in Shmuel he was in charge, that he sent Shaul, you remember, to kill Hagag, that he was the king of Amalek, you remember? And then he saw him, what is those noise that I hear? Remember we spoke about it. Now, here becomes the problem. There is a mahloket among the poskim, if Parashat Zachor, it's a positive command from the Torah or not. If it's mitzvat aseh from the Torah or not. According to some of the Rishonim, they say Parashat Zachor mitzvat aseh min Torah, to hear the reading of mitzvat aseh. Most the Ahronim, there is a difference between the Rishonim and Ahronim. The Rishonim was in the 12th century, that means close to 800, 900 years ago. Ahronim is a 16th century. It's close to 500 years ago. But most of the Ahronim come to conclusion, when I say Ahronim, the Poskim Ahronim, come to conclusion that hearing Parashat Zachor, it's mitzvat aseh min Torah. Not only that, here become the tricky point, that in a shul that they read Parashat Zachor, they should take the most Mehudar Sefer Torah outside and to read with that. Now, every congregation, that means if it's Ashkenazim, the Yeke, the Sfaradim, everyone heard to listen to the Nusach that they get used to hear it. That means the Faradi have to listen to the way that the Sfaradim read the Torah on Parashat Zachor, because it's mitzvat aseh. The Yeke according to their minhag. The Litvak according to their minhag, according to their tune. Any question? No. So we answered that about Parashat Zachor. The third Parsha is Parashat Para. Parashat Shabbat Para. Para Aduma. Here we speak about Parashat Para Aduma. And this Shabbos is Parashat Hukat, nachon? What are we going to read about Para Aduma? So Parashat Para Aduma we can find in Sefer Bamidbar, Parashat Hukat. Okay? In Parashat Hukat, in chapter 19, from verse 1 to verse 22, we're reading, that's the third Shabbat that we read, Parashat Para Aduma. And the main reason that we have to read Parashat Para Aduma, and that, remember, that's before Pesach. Why? Because Parashat Para, what does it speak about? The purity. That means that we have to prepare ourselves, the Parsha speak about purity. Why? That we should prepare ourselves to be pure for Pesach. Why? Why is it so important to be pure on Pesach? We have Korban HaPesach. A person that wasn't pure cannot sacrifice Korban HaPesach. You remember we spoke about it why we have Pesach Sheni, that they brought the Shaila, that it was והיו אנשים לא טהורים, that means that was people that couldn't sacrifice Korban HaPesach. And they came to Moshe and we say, why should we lose Pesach? What does it mean to lose Pesach? To sacrifice Korban HaPesach. So Moshe asked the question and he said to him, count 30 days, and in 30 days you're going to, when is it happen? And you Daled Iyar, נכון? Pesach Sheni. Who was it? Let's see if you remember. Here was a mahloket. You remember we explained on the Shabbos. What was the mahloket? According to Rashi, Mishael el Tzapan. Why? Mishael el Tzapan. Let's see if you remember. They pulled the body of Nadav and Avihu. How did they pull it? With shalshelaot. You remember we explained that the Kohen have to have a shalshelet on his legs when he go inside. But in the case of Nadav and Avihu, they didn't have shalshelaot. Kohen Gadol, when he go to Kodesh HaKodashim, was a change tied to his leg. Because Chas v'Shalom, when he died, especially happened in Beit Sheni, that they used to buy the Keuna. But in that case, what happened? They took a fishing rod, like a fishing rod, and they hook it to their clothes, and they pull them out, and they become Tmei Metim. Other opinions say, no, it wasn't Mishael and Tzapan. It was Nosei Aaron. Which Aaron? Arono shel Yosef, Atzmotav shel Yosef. Those people that carry the coffin of Yosef. They couldn't bring Korban Pesach. So, Parashat Para come to teach us that we should come and prepare ourselves to be in Tahara. Any question before I continue on that? So we see from here that it's come to teach us about Parashat Para also have another obligation. According to the Rosh, okay, the Ritva and Rabbi Yehuda Hasid, according to them, Parashat Para is also obligation from the Torah to listen to it. The Haftarah that we read on Parashat Para, it's come from the prophet Yehezkel. The prophet Yehezkel in chapter 36, there he speak about the laws of Para and also about purity, especially about purity. The last parsha that we have, what is that parsha? No? Parashat HaChodesh. That's the Shabbos before Rosh Chodesh Nisan. We read it. Okay? Before Rosh Chodesh Nisan or on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Sometime. That we have to read it. If it's Hal on Shabbat. Okay? We read it on Sefer Shmot, from the book of Shmot, okay, in Parashat Bo, in chapter 12. And there the verses between verse 1 to 20, okay, that's what we read. And the main reason that we read about Parashat HaChodesh, that means that there it's speaking about what it says, Rishon hu lechodshei hashana. What it means Rishon hu lechodshei hashana? Hazal teach us that Rosh Chodesh Nisan is the first month in a Jewish calendar. Lehavdi, in a circular calendar, which one is the first month? January. For us, the first month in Nisan. It's come to tell us.
Our calendar at Tishrei?
Huh?
Why we started the Jewish calendar from Tishrei?
That's the calendar that we have today.
Why?
Why? Because that's what people start. You know, they printed that to say because Tishrei is Rosh Hashanah. You know what I'm saying? No, that's the first day of creation. נכון?
But in Tishrei, the number of the years changed, like תשנ"ה, תשנ"ו.
נכון. לא, עכשיו הבנתי, לא הבנתי את השאלה שלך. סליחה, לא הבנתי את השאלה. I didn't understand your question. I was thinking why our calendar that we have today. No, because Rosh Hashanah. What it mean Rosh Hashanah? That when was HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world. But Rishon LaChodashim, the first month, ראשון הוא לחודשי השנה. What it mean ראשון הוא לחודשי השנה? That's going to be for you the first month. We can't confuse with the circular calendar. The circular calendar go for them, להם יש את January, יש להם February, זה לא כמו אצלנו, בכלל שונה. Okay, so we see from here that the main reason that we read it is דווקא to tell us which one is the first month in a Jewish calendar. The Haftarah on it come also from Sefer Yechezkel, but that in chapter 45, Perek Memhei. There it speak about, again, Parashat, that Rosh Chodesh Nisan, that Rosh Chodesh Nisan is the first month, okay? And there we have to get ready for purity. Now we have Shabbat Hafsaka. What it means Shabbat Hafsaka? Shabbat Hafsaka, it's a Shabbat that we have a break. Instead of taking 2 Sifrei Torah, and we explain that sometimes we take 3 Sifrei Torah, and that can happen in Parashat, no, help me, Shkalim and Parashat HaChodesh. That means in Rosh Chodesh Adar, Rosh Chodesh Nisan. That sometimes there we have to take 3 Sifrei Torah. So in that case, we have a Shabbos. When is Shabbat Hafsaka happen? That's the most important. So that can happen, no, between Shabbat Hafsaka, 80% or 82% of the time, happen between Parashat Shkalim and Parashat Zachor. Parashat Shkalim, we read, we take 2 Sifrei Torah. Let's say that it's not Rosh Chodesh. If it's Rosh Chodesh, we take 3. But after Parashat Shkalim, usually come Parashat Zachor, nachon? No, we say we'll take a break, one Shabbos. This Shabbos we take a normal 1 Sefer Torah and we read the Parsha. 82% of the time it's happened between Parashat Shkalim and Zachor. Ado, and the rest of the time it can happen, okay, the Shabbos between Parashat Zachor and Parashat Parah. That means it can happen that we read Parashat Shkalim, again Parashat Zachor, and then we have Shabbat Hafsaka, and then Parashat Parah Aduma. Any question? Because it looks like you didn't understand. Most of the cases, it's happened, usually the Shabbos after Parashat Shkalim, we have Shabbat Hafsaka. That's 82% of the time. 18% of the time, it's happened between Parashat Zachor, after Parashat Zachor, Parashat Parah. Yes, Matthew.
What causes that 18% of the time?
Because we have 5. Why dafka there? It depends on the year. Depends. How's the Parshiot you read? If there is a leap year or there is no leap year. If there is a leap year, it gets postponed. Fine? Any question? No. So we learned today about the 4 Parshiot. The 4 Parshiot that came usually, remember again, I just repeated briefly, the Shabbos before Rosh Chodesh Adar, or on Rosh Chodesh Adar, depends if it's Pol, that's called Parashat Shkalim. After that we have Parashat Zachor, Parashat Parah, and then Parashat HaChodesh. To remind us, the main idea of these 4 Parshiot is to prepare us to get ready for Pesach. And why? Because Pesach is full of law. Pesach we have to do korbanot like we explained. That's what we call mahatzit shekel, to collect the money. Then we have all the law of Pesach to prepare us for Pesach. What do you learn from here? That Pesach, such a difficult mitzvah we have, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hazal command us, that means obviously it's an order from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Gemara Masechet Megillah, to prepare ourselves for Pesach, we have to be ready mentally towards Pesach. And that's the main reason that we read 4 Parshiot. And Be'ezrat Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when we read it next time, and we come to those Parshiot, please God, HaKadosh Baruch Hu redeemed us before, but if not, usually, Benisan nig'alu, Benisan atidim li'gael, that's what Hazal say. And Be'ezrat Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will send us, Messiah Tzidkenu, and He'll send us the Mashiach. Once that He sends Mashiach, He'll do the מים טהורים, that means we're going to learn it on Shabbat, he'll take the פרה אדומה. You know how many more פרות אדומות left to be done? One. And you know who's going to do it? Melech HaMashiach. But I have a question, and remember it, that's for Shabbat.
Has to be a Kohen, no?
Huh?
The Mashiach isn't a Kohen?
משיח? בזמנו היה מי? כהן גדול עושה אותה. מי עשה את הפרה האדומה הראשונה? לא, משה. משה.
אבל הוא מתעסק איתה.
לא. אני אסביר בשבת. אתה בשבת תהיה פה, אני מזמין אותך בשבת לשיעור. ויקחו אליך פרה אדומה. מה זה ואליך? לעולם היא נקראת על שמך. רש"י הקדוש כותב על המקום. That means the red heifer always going to be called on your name. I share with you idea. I'm going to say it also on Shabbat. Rabbi Tzvi Hirsch. He was the student of Ari HaKadosh. Rabbi Tzvi Hertz. He was a student of Ari HaKadosh. And he said in his book that מתחת להר הבית, under הר הבית, there is three storage level, and underneath them in a tunnel, they hide ארון הברית, the ark, לוחות שבורות, that means the first tablet that they broke, לוחות שניות, המטה של משה רבנו והמטה של אהרון, צנצנת המן וצנצנת אפר פרה אדומה, שממנה ייקח מלך המשיח ויוסיף מהאפר הזה, we're going to add up from that ash of the red heifer that Moshe Rabbeinu done the first one, going to put it together and he'll create the מים טהורים. That means those spiritual water that when Melech HaMashiach will throw on the Jewish people, he's going to purify us. Why? Because today we all consider Tme'e Metim. Because all of us become somehow involved with the deceased body, with the tumor of a deceased body. That's the right word to say. So Be'ezrat Hashem, we should all merit to see Mashiach speedily in our day. Amen. Ken Yeh Ratzon.